Okay, we're in Photoshop here, and we have a nice little egret here who has these bright white feathers. And what we want to do is get some detail out of those because, as you can see here, they look pretty much blown out, so you can't see any detail at all in there. The first thing that I would try, and sometimes this will work, is to take the highlights slider over here and notch that all the way down. And as you can see, those details start to come out fairly nicely here, but not completely. We're not getting all the details that we want. So the next step that I use is to open this image in Photoshop, and we'll do that by clicking on the image, and then edit in Photoshop. So that takes us over to Photoshop here, and in Photoshop we can apply the Nik Detail Extractor. The Nik suite of products is a very good suite. They were bought by Google a few years ago, and now Google has made them available for free download. So you can Google Nik, N-I-K, Photoshop filters and find them on the internet. So in any case, here we have our egret back again. And if we go to filters now and go down to Nik collection, the detail extractor is in the Color Efex Pro 4 collection of filters. So it takes a second or two to open that. And this opens this in a new panel. And once that is done, we can look over here on the left-hand side to the presets and find out that the detail extractor is right here. And if you click on that little icon right there, it gives you a number of presets from the default, and you can click on these presets and see, and you notice in here that there are more or less details being extracted on this guy. Some of them look rather funky, and I don't think we want that. But I think we want to take the default here. Once we take that, we can adjust the magnitude of the detail extractor here, the contrast, saturation, and what have you like that. Or one of the things that I usually do is for fine images on a bird like an egret, I'll just change that from normal to fine there. And if we go over here and zoom in on this, you can see we have gotten some nice details on that. I'll click on compare here, and you can see what it looked like before and after. Before and after. Also notice that the Nik Detail Extractor applies this to the entire image, and since it applies it to the entire image, you can see there's a lot of grain over here in the background, which we don't want to see. One of the ways to only apply it to the areas that we want are using the control points here, which I do sometimes. But the other way to do it, and this is usually my preferred mechanism, is to just brush on the areas where you want to add these details. So down at the bottom here, I click on brush, and now that takes us back to Photoshop, and in Photoshop it automatically creates another layer with a layer mask. And you can see the original layer mask starts out as an all black mask. In other words, none of these this filter is applied to that layer. So once it finishes its computations, it allows you to brush this this filter on. So I click on paint, and the next thing I do is I'll zoom in on this image here, and that will allow us to paint in the areas where we want to see this effect. And obviously you want to be over here on this paintbrush tool when you have that. So here's what I'll do is I'll just take this, and as you can see, we're starting to see more and more images, or more and more details rather, come out on this image where I brush in, and I'm going to brush the areas where I want to see the details. Annoying little panel pops up there every once in a while. Not sure how to cause that from not happening. We're going to go get a few more details down here on the reflection too. Increase that a little bit. And as you can see over here on this mask, that causes white areas to show, which again allows the mask to show through. We click apply on that. We go back to full screen here, and actually I'm going to zoom in just a tad here. So what I can do is go over here and click off that layer, and you can see we've lost the details in there. Click on, and we have we've regained those details. So that's how you use the Nik Detail Extractor in order to recover details in blown out whites.